Hello, it's Tony here, and this is the first of our Power Automate Lab sessions. This one is Process Advisor, and we're going to look at task mining. So let's get into it. So we're going to talk about task mining. We're going to do a real-world example of the task mining capabilities inside Power Automate. There's a difference between task mining and process mining. We discussed that in the setup video to this, and this lab is purely focused on the task mining aspect. So the document we're going to use, it is the Lab 2 document, which looks something like this. Let me just scroll up here. So it should look something like this. These labs are all taken from our course RPA and RPA in a day. That covers a lot more than that, but RPA in a day, if you want to come to a live event, absolutely welcome to that. But that's where these labs come from. And this is the document we're going to work from today. Now, these sessions are follow along, so you can follow along with me, pause and that kind of thing. I'll be basically following the steps in this lab document anyway, and just talking around that and adding more context to it. But sometimes people want to do it by themselves, and that's totally fine. If you want to do it yourself, then feel free to just click along with this document in your own time, and you'll get the benefits just as much as you will if you're watching it with me. A couple of assumptions. We've assumed that you've got your tenant set up here. If you haven't, then go back to one of the earlier modules in the course to set up your tenant. But you do need to have that tenant for this. And you need to have downloaded and extracted the zip file. So these documents are actually in a zip file that you can get from that first module in the course, the Start Here module. So in the Start Here module, there's how to set up a tenant, and there's access to the zip file. Once you've got the zip file, you extract the zip file, and it will look something like this. So the assumption is that you've got access to this. So this is what the zip file is called. So you extract that, you'll get a folder with all this stuff in it, and that's what we're working from. This is the Lab 2 document we're working from, and we're going to need something from inside this Lab Data Packages folder as well. Okay, without further ado, let's get on with it. So first thing I want you to do is open up a browser and log in with your tenant credentials on the tenant you created, and go to flow.microsoft.com. Recommend that you add a bookmark for this for easy access throughout the rest of the course. And we're going to look at Process Advisor, which is here, but actually we're going to look at something first, just a very quick look at something first. We won't cover any of these we will cover all of this interface as we go throughout the course. For now, what we're going to do is we're going to look at Process Advisor, and there is a pre-existing solution that we're going to import for us to help with our knowledge of Process Advisor. Solutions are a way of packaging objects, packaging items such as Process Advisor recordings. It could be desktop flows, could be cloud flows, could be AI models, could be apps, could be database tables. Loads and loads of things you can package into solutions, and this is the way that you transfer objects between different environments. Now, this is all covered in the admin course that's on this site. If you want to know more about that, then feel free to take that course. But for now, just know that solutions are a way of transporting objects between environments, and what we're going to do is import a Process Advisor item for us to play with in our learning of Process Advisor. So we're going to click on that import button. I'm going to click on browse here. And when we go to browse, we're going to find your zip file. So wherever your zip file is, that's this, wherever that is, browse to that. And in Lab Data Packages, we've got lab number 2. Go into lab number 2, and you want this file here. So RPA in a day, Process Advisor 1007, and click open. And then click next. What this will do is it will check to make sure that is a valid import file for Power Platform, and it will go yep, and then we're just going to go import. Now this can take a few minutes. You should see this bar here. It can take a few minutes, so I'm going to use the magic of video recording and things like that, and just pause and we'll come back when it has imported. But do know it can take a minute or so, longer, 2-3 minutes. So okay, that has imported. That took about 90 seconds, 2 minutes for me. And you can see now here you've got this item in here in solutions. If you open that up, you can see what objects are inside that solution. So inside that solution, you can see we've got all of these recordings, these desktop recordings, and process manager tasks, that kind of thing. So now if we go back to this menu here, we're going to go process advisor and look at the processes. So we should see now in here processes that the process that we've just recorded. So it's called the invoice submission process. What we're going to do is have a look at that. So let's go into here. Read these things if you like. Gives you a bit of information what they are. This is the overview page of the process that we've just imported. You can see here this one's got 5 recordings. So these are existing 5 recordings that people have done for this process. You can see it's shared here with a number of people. So it's shared with Fab User 1. Well, actually it's just owned by Fab User 1. You can add more people here. This is where you can add people in to do more recordings, or you can add more co-owners in who can then onward share that as well. What we're going to do is we're going to record our own recording of this particular process. So we're going to click on new recording here, and we've only got the one process, so we're going to use that process and click open recorder. Now what will happen is it will prompt you to open up an app on the desktop. Just make sure that you allow that and click open. Now you should have Power Automate Desktop installed as part of the setup of this of the course. So by completing the tenant setup, you should have installed Power Automate Desktop as well, and that should launch itself now. So you should have something that looks like this. So what you can do now is you can close this if you like, this window, and you can minimize this one. So you should have this desktop recorder available. Now this desktop recorder, what this does is it records the actions of what a person's doing on the user interface. And what we're going to do is we're going to record ourselves doing a particular business process. And what I'll do first is I'll step through the process that we're going to record, and then we'll hit record and actually record it after that. I recommend that you do the same as what I'm doing, just to get used to the actions that you're going to record before you actually record it. So we've got this Contoso invoicing application. This is a pretend application supplied by Microsoft. It's just a dummy, a pretend application. There's no damage you can do with it. You can install this application for yourselves. It's in the data package, and as part of tenant setup, you should have installed this software, this piece of this pretend application as well on your machine. So with Contoso invoicing, what we want to do is we're going to go to, so the process we're going to do is open up the app, and we're going to create a new invoice. So we're going to go to the invoices area, new invoice. The date's pre-filled, is going to go to account and type in any account, anything you like, contact, any contact, and the amount, anything you want, and then choose this to invoiced, and then click save, and then click close. So that's the business process that we're going to record. One more time, opening up Contoso invoicing, clicking on invoices, new invoice, something in there, the amount, and then invoiced, save, and close. So that's the recording we're going to do. So once you've practiced it 1 or 2 times, hit on record. Something about the desktop recorder is to note is that now what you'll see is you'll see that a red box has started appearing around the user interface as I'm moving around, and that's telling me what I'm going to be recording when I click. So if I double click on this, you'll see here, it's opened up. It's opened this up here. So I've opened, now it's record 2 left clicks. I just want to do the 1 click to show that I opened up Contoso Invoicing. We can bin that one. And then if I click around the application here, you'll see that red, the red recorder shows here what I'm actually going to be recording. So I click on the new record. This is where we're entering in the details. Anything in here. Invoiced. Save. And then close the application. So I recorded that end-to-end process using the recorder, and then I click finish. If you didn't get that as clean as I did, no problem. Pause the video, read the lab document, run through it again a couple of times so you've got a relatively clean recording of it. It really doesn't matter if you have or not. It's just a playground, obviously. But yeah, go through that to learn how to use the recorder. The important thing here is to learn that recorder. So once you've got the recording, pause the video now if you need to catch up. But once you've got this recording nice and clean, click on finish. And then what happens is that will save itself back to the cloud, to Process Advisor. And what you will see here is you'll see this recording. So it's saved, click got it, and then here you'll see this is a status of in progress. If I refresh that, so that was saying that recording was started or in progress. And if I click on it here, it can take a few moments for this to render in here. But as you can see here, it's got this progress bar. So that's just getting things ready. It can take a minute or so. That took about 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes to render. So do be patient with that. It will come up eventually. It will look something like this. So here's the recording of that action that we just completed. So what we recorded is every single step that happens during that particular process, right? The submission of an invoice. However, that's not necessarily useful. Every single point and click isn't necessarily very useful for us when it comes to analyzing. We want to analyze the actual points and clicks in more of a general bucket of activity. So for example, opening up the application is one particular activity. Filling in the invoice form is another activity. Closing the application is another one. So we want to be careful about, we don't want to analyze every single point and click, because that's not going to give us some useful data. So the next step after doing the task recording is to then group all of the things that you've recorded into meaningful actions, meaningful activities. And that's what we're going to do in this next step. In real life, you can train users to do this, but I would recommend that you have either one person that does this or a central team, just so that you get some sort of consistency in the grouping of these activities. Because in our experience, when we've run this in training courses, people have different, they categorize things in different ways. And having that consistency will give you a better quality of diagram that you will see later on. So let's go on and add these activities. So add activity. The way we do that is you click on the add activity, and then here's the activity here. Now there are some recommended names here and some custom names. We're just going to have one for open Contoso app there, and then another one. So add another activity, and this time we're going to add enter invoice details, and then add activity, save and submit. Was there another one for close? We'll have that under save and submit. So now you've got the different activities that you're going to bunch these into, you can just drag them around. So here we want this to go, that's at the end, this goes at the start, and then what you do is you're dragging these to where that is in the timeline. So save and submit. So if I wanted to have a look down here, if I click on one of these items, you can see here what that was doing. So you've got a little screenshot, you've got the action that was happening. What we want to do is make sure we've got the save changes. So that's save and submit there. So save and submit is there. That's where we're clicking save. And that's also where we're closing the app. So then enter invoice details. Where does that start? So that starts here, I would say. I reckon that starts actually there, because what we're doing is we're going to invoices and then new invoice. So this is opening the app. This is enter invoice details. So we've split out the activities there, and I'm happy that that's finished. Now we can save that because we've got the activities bunched up. One common thing that happens in our live events is that people will be clicking around on these, trying to move these. These don't move. It is the activities that move, because these are sequential in terms of time, and you can't change time. This is just how they happened. So what you're doing is you're changing the groupings of how those time sequential activities actually happened. So then once you've clicked save, this activity is then ready to analyze. So toggle that and save again. Make sure it's ready to analyze. And then you can go back to the process. So you can see here now we've got these ones here that are analyzed and this one here that's not analyzed. So what I want to do now is go, there's an analyze tab here. And what that will do, once you've gone through all of these, you don't have to do, these are already pre-done for you, you don't have to do anything with these. Let's just have a look at one of them actually. So in here you can see this is what these team members have done with the invoice. So feel free to have a click around in those. So they've been grouped into activities and they are ready ready to be analysed. We've got this one here that's not analysed now, but it's ready to be analysed. So we're going to click on analyse so it does it again. So the workflow is do the recording, split it into activities, and then make it ready for analysed, and then analyze, and then analyze is what builds the graphs and things. This can take a few seconds to do, so just hang fire while that's happening. Okay, so when that finishes, the analyze will just disappear from there, and this is now analyzed and ready to status is there of analyzed. What this means is you can now go into the analytics area, and this will render the process map. Now, depending on how you've categorized the activities, this map might look like a bit of a mess. Let's have a look. Let's see how it looks. But it's not really, we're not really that concerned in particular about looking at the neatness of the map. It's just getting that concept of what this is capable of. So that's rendering there. It can take a minute or so for that to render. While that is building, if there are any corrections to this lab, they'll be in the text underneath this video. And if you find anything in this lab that needs correcting, or any feedback back at all about the lab, do hit the support bubble on the bottom right of every single page in this portal. That support bubble will have articles in there that you can search for. So have a look for Process Advisor, and if there's any tips and tricks, Process Advisor lab. If there's any tips and tricks in particular around this lab, they'll be in that document. And yeah, you can view our knowledge base, and you can log a ticket in there if you need some real-time support. So we'll just wait for that to render. So this can take a while. That took about 2 minutes for me. So just hang fire there and be patient if you're still rendering. So you get this this map. You can read those two things if you like, get a bit of idea of what that's about. And So this builds this really nice workflow, this really nice little this little process diagram that gives you all the variations, the counts, and of course the source data for this is the recordings that we've done. So all of these stats that you see here, there's only 6 recordings that have been made for this, but if you had lots of recordings, obviously the data is going to be better. But you've also got this. You can use a data source to drive this as well, and that's at the essence of process mining. So when we talk about task mining and process mining, what we've done today in this lab is task mining, but then there is process mining. Now, if you've got your data from a database or a log file that's in a relatively structured format, then you can import that data into here and be able to see this kind of process map for that data as well, which is super useful. So this is what the graph looks like. So you can see here there's a number of different things that it's a bit of a mess, the diagram, but you get the idea of what happens. So everyone starts the process. 2 went down this path, and then 2 went here. 1 went here, 1 went here, and 1 went here. So you can see that the lighter, the darker they are, the more often they are executed. The longer they take. The thicker the line is the number of times. So if this was 10, this line would be thicker, and the length of time is the darker shade. So you get this sort of instant sort of visibility around what's happening. So you can see here this line here that says 6 is a lot thicker than the one there that says 1. These are the little icons here. That this shows that there is an automation recommendation for this particular activity. It's using Outlook, so this has recognized that, and it's saying, hey, this might be useful to use the Outlook connector. Similarly, this is OneDrive, and this here is Excel. So it's giving you that kind of hint as well about the kind of things that you can automate, sort of give a bit of a draft automation thing. I'm wary of that. I like the idea of it. I like the sort of potential marketing activity of that. It's impressive to look at, but you want to go through a process of optimizing the business process first of all. Like if I was looking at this, if this is a real life case, then I wouldn't want to automate all these 4 different cases of where an invoice can come from. I'd want to streamline that and eliminate some of these and just have it going into one particular place, probably email, and then just take all the others out and do some sort of thing around that. So it is nice to have this these ideas, these suggestions, but some process re-engineering is required really. So that's the process tab. In the application tab, this will tell you the applications that are being used in that particular business process, and again this will render and take a few moments. And here it's saying that there are 8 apps used in the process, 51 times accessed across the whole suite, and the number of actions and time spent in those applications in the whole thing. So you can see here you get these little pie charts, and what's being used in that process. The further along to the right is the number of times it's accessed, and the further up is the time spent. So you can see here that the legacy invoicing app is accessed all the time, and most time is spent in it. Outlook, a lot of time is spent in it, but it's not accessed that much. So really in this top right hand quadrant here are the applications that you need to be looking at and sort of go, well, do we have a connector for that? How could we automate the parts of the process that use that app? So it's good for looking at that sort of data as well. So that's Process Advisor. I don't think there's anything else. Let me just double check on the labs. Okay, good. It's all good. So that is the end of the lab. Of course, if you need any support during this lab, or if you're stuck on anything, hit that support bubble at the bottom. But if all's good, thank you for watching, and I hope you took some good learnings away from this module.